Communicating about sustainability is a really important task because we have the challenge of protecting the environment and protecting the planet for future generations. So how we consume is very important. We have to turn consumers into green consumers. How our economy works also affects the environment dramatically. We've had a look, because it's very important at this stage of the environmental battle, to find out what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, and what could be done better. Our first question was, does the community understand about sustainability? Or in fact, are the sustainability communicators in government, business and non-government organisations just talking to themselves?
Only a decade ago, when we did research, the level of understanding of the word sustainability was very, very low. So this is a new sort of concept for the community as well, so we need to actually bring them with us. At a grassroots level, there's a lot more change going on than people might realise. There's a lot more fundamental thought about the sustainability of local places, of particular industries. And those people in the grassroots who are engaged in that actually are making a difference, are changing the way in which our society operates. So even though we do get frustrated at times about the political dimensions of slow progress, actually seeing quite a strong transformation in business and in communities over the last 5 years that isn't, well, it's in contrast to the political slowness with which we've had the issue of climate change dealt with.
The connection that we've been failing to make as sort of apologists for this subject is that we've been failing to point out that the environment is the economy, and that for me is the big take-home message from today. The environment is the economy. When things go wrong with the environment, things will go wrong with the economy, and you feel it in your back pocket. If we could sort of unify all the NGOs and the government around a message like that, so that people would see that there is a problem that's going to affect them directly, personally, and they would see that there's a new way of thinking that can actually switch that around, not just in the specifics of their life, but in the kind of in a societal approach. Then that has a way of, I think, affecting the change that we're all looking for. The depressing thing is that we have to get to that level of change very quickly, and we are very rapidly running out of time, so there is a certain urgency.
Our next question was about the traditional media, which is really under challenge from social media. What implications does this have for sustainability communication?
Communications today is a much more complex beast than it's ever been, based on the fragmentation of the audiences and based on the fact that the audiences themselves are a medium in their own right. We've given these people the power of social media, and it's made one-to-one communication more valuable than ever. It has had an impact on mass media and the power of that mass message. It's no longer a message about telling people how to do things. It's a message about showing them what's possible and getting them to share that message. And I think that is especially relevant for the sustainability message. And I think moving forward, that whether you're a corporation or in particular a government entity, you need to start thinking in these terms, that traditional old media planning isn't going to work to deliver the outcome. I think the other thing that's really important is this idea and notion that the world is changing rapidly, and consumers are very quick to judge and form an opinion and share that opinion through social media.
The way that advertising used to work is that it was the only way you could engage a brand, the only way, or a company, and it created a brand. And there was no, you could pick up the phone, you could write a letter, but largely, people either didn't do that, or if they did, they didn't get a response. And it was very easy for a corporation or a company to stand behind its public face, which was its PR, and its advertising. What's happened with technology, and I think education, tertiary education of individuals, particularly social media as a channel, is that the ability now to find the information that you want, to get the backstory to a product, to get the inside scoop on a brand, is or an organisation, is no longer the preserve of the mainstream media. It's now the preserve of anybody that cares to try and find these things out. I think the opportunity actually is, if you look at brands like Apple and Nike and these kind of very successful brands, what they've recognised is they want to sell to the mainstream, but they're going to do that by tapping into the niche interests, wants, needs and desires of their audiences. If we can learn from that in this movement, the sustainability movement, the green movement, that's what we've got to do. We've got to take sustainability as a subject matter and use it as a lens over everything that we do, and look at what people are interested in different categories and different markets, and then apply that a version of sustainability that makes sense for that particular group of people, rather than blanket communications, which was a lot of the debate today. You know, we need the silver bullet. We need the, you know, what's the one thing that's going to solve this problem? Why is communications fallen over? Well, I don't think there is a silver bullet, and I don't think one ad campaign or communication strategy is going to do the job. I think what we need is a series of integrated and holistic strategies, which will come from all sorts of different places. It won't join up, and it won't all look the same, and it won't have a consistent message. But what it's got to do is start to translate the sustainability story into something that people can kind of get their heads around.
Finally, greenwash. It's been a big problem over the last 2 decades, and TEC has certainly taken some cases to the public arena and to the Consumer Commission. What's really good, true green communication?
Whether you're a corporation or in particular a government entity, you need to start thinking in these terms that traditional old media planning isn't going to work to deliver the outcome. The other thing I wanted to get through was this idea and this notion of the interrelationship between consumer sentiment, activists and corporate decisions. And corporate decisions follow where markets go. Markets are often led by opinion leaders, and as opportunities come to life, especially opportunities of innovation, they can be started by small companies, but big companies are quick to capitalise on the opportunity and the new market that is created, and by doing that it's almost a virtuous circle in terms of expanding the number of green products out there and the consciousness of the consumer about what green options they have for their home and their life. And I think that we can tackle sustainability at a government level, we can tackle it at a non-government level in terms of an activism level, but we need companies to change the behaviour and change the offering that they give to consumers and respond to what consumers want today. And through my presentation, I hope I communicated that there is a differentiation point for companies if they embrace a social responsibility campaign into their presentation, but it has to be authentic and it has to be believable with the consumer.
It's got to be about a truth, because as soon as it becomes about something that's a half-truth or an invention that is clearly not 100% legitimate, it gets picked up on very quickly. And I think, you know, the Good Guide, for example, will be a way in which people will very quickly spot when advertising or marketing doesn't align with the reality of the product, where it's come from, what it's about.